I've texted like 40 friends.
Well, we're live now. Let's see if all 40 of them show up. What's up, everybody? Live with Geoff, myself, and Jason. What are we talking about today? Today would be a good day to talk about marketing real estate.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Right? Marketing real estate. So, my thing, there's only 4 things that sell a house. You know that, Jason?
What are they?
Do you know what they are?
I know one.
You're still kind of a new real estate agent, and this is probably one of the most important things to talk about with your sellers, is that there's 4 things that sell a house. Obviously, the location.
Exactly.
The price.
Okay.
The condition.
Okay.
Those are the 3 that everybody talks about, but the 4th one that everybody forgets is seller motivation.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, so like in today's market, it's a little bit different, but back in, 2013, if a seller wasn't really motivated, they weren't going to sell that property. It didn't matter about the price, condition, or any of that stuff. And there's actually a 5th one.
What would that be?
The 5th trick to selling a property is calling us to sell it for
Ah,
you.
exactly.
Yeah, that's the first tip.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
Yeah.
really the first one. But it's like, I saw a t-shirt on one of our real estate agents that was like, the 10 things to sell a
No,
real
it was
estate.
on my Facebook.
Was it on your page? The 10 things to sell a real estate property. Number 1, call me. Number 9, we'll take care of the rest.
Yeah,
So-
that's awesome.
Yeah, so those things are very important. And in today's market, Bonnie actually was just telling me about an agent in Louisville, $170,000 house, wrote a contract. $180,000 house, wrote a contract, $15,000 over asking price, and didn't get the property.
Wow.
15 grand over asking price.
So that goes back to that motivated seller.
Motivated seller. That's a really motivated. That's a motivated buyer.
That's
right
a
there.
motivated buyer.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing with that. Most likely, if the property was priced right, it's probably not going to appraise. So I think we're almost in the point now where we get into the market where our inventory is so low, if people's going to want the house, they may be paying out of pocket. So, I mean, this is happening. You know, I've got a buddy, friend that builds houses and remodels houses down in North Carolina, and he's got people paying $20,000 or $30,000 out of their pocket over the appraisal price because they want the property.
Wow.
And that's what changes the market. That can be a little scary, but you know, in that case, in Louisville, I'll be interested to hear what the outcome is. I would love to hear how the property appraises. Did the agent have it underpriced, or is it going to appraise for market price and they're going to pay out of pocket just to get the house?
Yeah, I think my thing is like, what if that would make that agent look bad? It was just an underpriced house.
Yeah.
Does it appraise? You know, and then at that point is like, okay, well, if it's a cash buyer, which we had that deal in Southland where we knew the house was overpriced.
For the market.
For the market.
It wasn't overpriced.
It wasn't overpriced because it cost us that much to build it.
Right.
But it was what it was, and we got that cash buyer. And now go to Southland and go try to find something under 120 a foot. Is there anything under 120 a foot?
Very little. It needs a lot of work, if so.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find some stuff still for $100 a foot, but
It's almost tear down.
it needs to be gutted to the studs and redone.
Yeah. I mean,
Unfortunately, we got some flippers coming into the area that doesn't do
terrible
that.
work.
It's just driving me crazy.
Yeah, there's some terrible work out there, and that's one of the things. Like when the market, right before the market crashed in '08, I don't want to say I was a high quality flipper, but when I looked at the properties of the other flips, there were some properties that because the market was so hot, somebody was flipping a property they did work for, that I almost wanted to buy the property, do it right, and flip it again. Yeah, but so, you know, it's like that's part of it. That's part of it. But you know,
There's nobody behind you, man.
yeah. I mean,
Now somebody was asking, was that anything that needed to be? So, just questions are coming in privately. So
oh yeah.
they're not making sure
That's just,
you got a
that's just
business
stuff
deal
that I have
up there.
That's stuff I have to remind myself of.
So talking about marketing, for a new guy, tell me what strategies you guys have, what's some things that have worked, some things that haven't worked, and what are your thoughts on that?
I give that one to Geoff. He's the marketing guru here.
Really, man, I think it's being almost, you got to be blatantly honest. You know, especially when you put a house on the market and it's pretty competitive, you have to be blatantly honest with your sellers. You're going to tell them things they don't want to hear. And, you know, I think a lot of agents have a hard time doing that because they're afraid they're going to lose out on the deal or, you know, not going to get the listing. But here's the thing about it: you're there for their best interest. You're there. I mean, their number one goal, their pain point, is to get the property sold. Your goal is to come in and tell them what they need to do to get that property sold. And many times I go in and I see houses, and I don't know if it's just laziness on the part of the agent,
Right.
or if it's the agent they're scared. But you walk in and you see some of these pictures that I see. It's unbelievable. And you walk in and the condition of the property. When you're in a competitive market and you're trying to get your house sold, you want it to look the very best possible.
Yeah.
And we kind of run into this too. A lot of times you make suggestions to clients, and if it's not their taste or if it's not what they want, they're very hesitant on doing it.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I don't really like that. I'm like, hey, it doesn't matter if you like it, because you're not going to be living here.
Right.
It matters if it matters to the masses that's coming to look at this property and is wanting to buy it. So that's what I would tell agents: is you have to be really upfront and address the hard questions. Address, if the house smells like cat piss, you need to tell them their house smells like cat piss, because that's going to be the feedback you get back.
Yeah.
And I see too many agents not, doing what they should do because they're afraid of losing out on the listing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, you got to be the expert, and I think staging is really important. But really, you have to imagine it. Really getting in your client's mind is that somebody has to imagine themselves walking into a house. Like, it drives me crazy when there's like tons of pictures,
Right.
because what ends up happening with personal pictures is people can't imagine themselves in that house. Now, in today's market, obviously it's a little bit different, but you can maybe get a little bit more money if you painted those walls. And I'm not saying on a cash on return point, but
Right.
you're going to get more buyers that are going to come in and smell the fresh paint, and that affects people's mindset. When I used to do open houses, I used to bake cookies,
Oh yeah.
and it gives it like a homey taste. Homey smell.
And now it's it's a seller's market, but we're working with, when it's a seller's market and inventory's low, you end up having a ton of buyers.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're not marketing the property so much, you're marketing yourself
Yeah.
as an agent. So what I'm going to tell you is you need to educate yourself. Any agent out there, you need to do as much education as you can, whether it comes to knowing all about the different loan products that these buyers can have. You need to know this whole entire buying process and be able to sit down with your buyers and explain the process, what's going to happen throughout. You set expectations with them, what to expect in the home inspections and all that. The marketing part comes back to you being able to market yourself and have as much knowledge as you can about everything's going on in the market.
Okay.
And everything's going on with loans and home inspectors, and educate yourself on construction. There's so many agents that I see walk in and they're like, hey, this house has got a great floor plan.
Just let me list it.
So,
Yeah.
or, it's just got great courage, just be a great house for you. And, there's many times I walk in and they're like, this floor plan doesn't really work for me. And I look at it, I was like, listen, we can go in, we can, this is load bearing wall, we can come in, we can put a structural beam in here, we can open this kitchen if you want a floor plan. And really, you have to be able to talk to clients and do that, because when the inventory is so low, their ideal home may not be on the market, but you may be able to find something, and if you can get it, and if they got some money, you can go in and make it their ideal home.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually brought up buyers, and I think something that we're trying to train a lot of agents into is the buyer orientation of when you pick up that buyer. Now, I know with the online leads, it's a lot harder to kind of get that loyalty commitment, but when you get your sphere built up and the people, you become the expert real estate agent for your group, you really got to bring your buyers in, and especially in today's market, because now it's really crazy in the sense that, like, look, there's no just like, let's just kind of mosey around and kind of window shopping.
Right.
There's no such thing as window shopping if you're under 250,000 in Lexington. You're either going to buy or you're not. So you got to bring them in, give them their expectations, let them know that every house we're going to go look at, there's probably 25 other people looking at it. Let them know that they need to have their loan stuff in line right away. And I'm talking to the point that their paperwork's in, that the stronger they can get their loan and all that paperwork done, you can go up to the buyer and now me and you are both bidding on a $200,000 house. We both bid in the same amount. I can go to the agent and say, my clients have all their paperwork turned in. They're ready to get a loan right now.
Right.
And even if it's the same loan, same client, same buyer, me being able to talk to that agent and say, my people are way more through this. They're ready to pull this trigger. It's key. So those buyer orientations are, you can't just be I know I can get approved for 250, and it's even more than just approval. And I think Brent was talking to me about this as well. Is that it's more than just getting that approval. It's like really getting the ball rolling. Like you're gonna close a loan in 30 days, no matter what kind of thing. So,
and you're not most likely you're going to be in a multiple offer situation, especially over the next 3 or 4 months. With the inventory what it is, you're going to be in a multiple offer situation. And a lot of times, a lot of these lenders are putting, they'll put the price, they want to put the house and the price on there. But if your clients are able to get approved for more than what the asking price is, you may want to have just a second approval letter. Say, okay, my clients can go up to this, because if you get in a multiple offer situation, hey, the seller knows that they can actually spend more than what the offer price is already.
yeah.
So have that letter to be able to put in there with it as well. Because, a lot of times, it's going to look, and they're going to look and see, if I'm a listing agent and somebody brings me a buyer, we're in multiple offer situations, we're going to look and see which bank they're approved with.
That's true.
And honestly, if there's somebody I know does a great job in town compared to other people that I've had problems with, I won't mention names of banks or companies, but I'm going to, I'm there for my seller. I'm going to listen. Out of my years of experience,
Exactly.
This offer may be $2,000 less than this offer, but there's a great chance that this one's going to get to closing and this one may not.
Right.
Because people were out there handing out pre-approval letters like candy.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you just got to go from more to stronger than that, just that pre-approval letter. And that buyer orientation needs to explain, just like you did with the seller. There are 2 phases of negotiating. There's negotiate the price, the closing date, and those terms up front, and then there's the negotiating of inspections, which and even now it's kind of because of the way the market is. There's a lot of people that are marking as is, no inspections. So you're competing against that, and there's value to the buyer or the seller in that situation. And when I buy flips, I do as is because there's not going to be any chance that this is going to fall through. Now, granted, FHA loans, there is a required inspection, and there's somewhere to initial there. It has to appraise a certain amount. And then just for people out there, that if you are a buyer and you're going out and you're offering more than asking price, you do have a little bit of a protection there in the sense that the bank will not give you the bank's only going to give you the loan amount that you can get on that house. Now, if you don't have the additional money over the 20% or 10% or 3.5% down, then you can get out of that loan in most cases and get your escrow because you couldn't get your financing closed. But at the same time, I was going somewhere with that financing. But yeah. So there is a little bit of protection there. You're probably going to pay for your appraisal. You're probably going to have to pay for your inspections. So there is loss of a little bit there. But if you don't have the difference between the appraisal amount and the purchase amount, you may not be able to get that loan. So there is kind of a little bit of protection, but I don't know if I've seen that fought in court yet on the difference. But you can't force somebody to buy a house.
Right. So what I hear is be the expert for a new person. Know what you're talking about. Be able to have that tough conversation, and then hearing you have that buyer orientation where you sit down and give the expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Expectations.
If your buyer's the expert, what do they need you for?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
That's true. That's true. So when we're talking about how busy the market is, some interesting statistics. February of 2017, the average days on the market was 72 days. February 2018 was 58 days.
Wow.
And last year was crazy.
Last year was crazy. This year's way worse.
I was at a home inspection yesterday, and I was talking to John Elliott at Apex. He did an inspection for us, and he's like, "If you get any other ones coming," he goes, "I just want to let you know." He goes, "I'm already booked out for the next 2.5 weeks."
Oh wow.
So you may, if you're an agent, you may want to talk to whatever home inspector you're using, and we're probably going to have to extend those days because a lot of times we're putting 14 or 16 days on these contracts.
2.5 weeks, they won't cover it.
2.5 weeks is not going to cover it now, especially if you're with a very reputable home inspector that's busy. If you call somebody and say, "Yeah, I've got to open it tomorrow," you might want to rethink using that home inspector.
Well,
You gotta be sure.
even we ran into on some houses we've listed with the photography, trying to market it with the video and photography. They're booked out a month almost.
He's 30 days out.
Yeah.
30 days out. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to photograph properties, we have work for you.
Yeah, but that's the things. There's all these things you have to take into consideration in this type of market, and it's tough on first-time home buyers.
Right.
So that's why it's great to have that buyer's orientation and you sit down and you lay out the expectations. And I'm not a high pressure pushing person when I'm, especially with new people.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go out and you look at the property, it's like, hey, if you like this house, there's no guarantee it's going to be here tonight.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
So are you finding, Geoff, when people are bidding and stuff, are we in the days in this market where you can be 5,000-10,000 below asking price?
Not if you really want the house.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, you've run into that here lately.
Oh, I mean, it's almost every deal.
Yeah.
I mean, how many multiple offer situations have we been in already?
Yeah.
You know, it's just the 1st of March, and I think I've been in 5 multiple offer you know, contracts already.
Yeah.
It's so yeah, the investors. It all I feel sorry for the agents that work with nothing except with investors,
Right.
because it's really tough right now. Because you know they're looking for the deals, and
They're just not out there.
I haven't bought an investment house in a year for the
Yeah.
simple fact that I can't find anything, and I'm in the business every day. So
I mean, you know, the thing is and that's how we get those crappy investors, actually, the crappy flippers, is because they overpaid for a house and they try to trim the cost somewhere else. We got a question there?
Yeah. I'll let you handle that.
somebody asked me if he wants to cut his hair.
From Matt, our boys that we hung out with in Miami.
Oh, there's a strength with 2 pre-qual letters, one with your purchase price cap listed and one generic one saying they're approved to buy. Any experience with that? I haven't seen one of those.
I haven't.
That's a great idea, though. Instead of having the 2 letters and say, "Here's where we're at." Is that what you're asking? Am I correct?
Matt, can you clarify that a little bit?
Let's see if he answers there.
Do you anticipate the market slowing down anytime soon?
No, not at all. And this is a crazy statistic, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but and I think if I can, and what we'll do is I'm going to try to get David O'Neill, the PVA, to do a live feed with us in the next couple of weeks. But so when the market crashed, basically they stopped new construction.
Okay.
I mean, it went to a crawl. And what ended up happening is all the skilled laborers left, right? So now when the market started to pick back up, and this is for the whole country almost, when the market started to pick back up, the builders didn't have the workers to keep up with it, and then they weren't building enough to keep up with the new builds. So I don't want to throw numbers out there, but I think like Lexington needed like 600 or 700 houses built a year, or maybe 300 houses built a year, and they were building like 30% of what needed to happen, and that happened over a 10-year period.
Wow.
So if you imagine if they're building at 30% capacity, they're missing out for 10 years that they didn't build enough houses to keep up, and that's the issue in Lexington. Besides the fact that they're not going to expand, they didn't expand the service boundary, Fayette County service boundary, to basically open up more land. And really developers, my understanding is that developers, especially in Fayette County, are not wanting to open land because of the whole new EPA issues that they had a few years ago. Fayette County got sued by the EPA about water management issues. So there's only a few people that own land in central Kentucky right now there really are like literally land barons right now that have a bunch of land available. So the lack of construction over the last 10 years, the high demand of buyers, the good economy that we're in right now, it could go another 10 years of a lack of inventory. So,
and I always ask questions from this point of view too. So to either one of you, people that are looking, again, that are thinking, because I know some people are watching that are considering United, what separates us in the marketing field versus other companies?
So I think the biggest differentiating factor is that the cost of doing business with us is so much less than everyone else.
And they are and our agents, with that being said, are able to pump more of their dollars into.
Hey guys.
Hey, into.
Yeah, we're doing a live feed.
What's that?
We're doing a live feed. You want to join us?
Live
Say hi,
feed.
Jim.
Hey guys, how are you?
Do a live feed.
Hey, just give me a call when you have a chance.
Okay, sure will.
See you guys.
See you.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Jim.
We'll
Later.
see you. Bye bye.
Live TV.
But that gives our agents more opportunity to be able to pump marketing dollars in and do things for their clients. And another thing too, man, I think it's our culture that really helps, because we all love to share with each other ideas and what we're going on. I was on the phone with Michelle Gunter this morning. We spent 30 minutes talking about things that we had coming on the market, clients that I had looking for stuff, clients that she had looking for stuff that was coming on the market. So
Yeah.
it's, it's all about reaching out and, searching. You look at our board up here, we've got close to 20 buyers
Yeah.
on our board that we're searching for properties for. So it's tough.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's going to be like that for a while. So Peter Geese actually shot out an email a couple days ago saying that there 26,000 agents had left the real estate business at the beginning of the year. Now, granted, over the year, agents are going to join because they want to get into business. They think this is an easy business.
Right.
But 26,000 left the business at the first part of the year. So I think this big surge of brand new licensees coming in will slow down. Just because there's just not enough business to go around.
Another question for you.
Sure.
Well, he's reading that. I got a question for you. So it's been a little bit different for you because you actually came in the business and you were smart. You got with a mentor right away.
Mm-hmm.
You joined a team right away. But after looking at it and you've heard all these great things like you can get in real estate, you can make a lot of good money. Has it been easier or harder than what you thought when you first got into the business?
For me personally, I think it's been easy because of the things you said. If there's new people watching, I would say having a mentor is key. And Geoff is my mentor, and I'm not pumping him up because he's here, but finding someone that's got experience and got a success track record and that has a good name, good reputation, that is key to me. And then the company, I can't say enough about United. I post about it all the time. And I know Eli don't like the word culture, but man, the culture here is so good and so relaxed, and everybody is very helpful. And then the systems we have in place, for a new guy, when I shopped around and looked at different companies, to me it was a no-brainer for the flat fee, $495. And then I get to use the rest of the money to pour back into my business, talking about marketing, to pour back into myself, pour back into this team, and then you allow me to be a part of your team. It's been an easy transition for me. Now, for me, I'm playing catch up a lot, but you're helping me with that because I've got so many people asking me questions, and even people on here today, and some friends that are watching. We're trying to find them places,
Right.
and I love it because you have 16 years of experience. I am brand new and ready to go, and then you got Eli over here, the owner, that just hangs out with us and can approach him. He's not like hidden away in an office somewhere, and I love that about this place.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a no-brainer.
But I get looking at the business aspect of it though too. Is there's probably, and I know you figured out like when you're brand new and you're coming into it, you don't realize all the emotional things that happen from the clients that you're working with, and you're dealing with all those things.
You know what
That's
I tell
the
real
hard
estate
part of the
agents?
business.
Yeah, I tell real estate agents you need to move every 3 to 4 years just to remind yourself what kind of hell it is to buy and sell a house.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be hell in a bad way, but I mean like it's like the stress of like packing your stuff up. Sometimes there's like emotional attachments of things, like people going through divorces and they're going through that stuff. I mean, it's a difficult process. It's never easy. Tara had a great question. With rates on the rise, what is a typical fixed rate now and compared to what's 2 years ago?
Well,
So
that's
now
going to depend on your credit score too.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Your credit score is a big factor in that. The interest rates is only up about 3/4 of a point to a point.
Yeah, rates are still good. I mean, I think with good credit scores, I think yesterday's rates were right around 4.5. Investment, you're going to be around 5%, a little over 5% on investment properties. But rates are still good. I don't see rates creeping, even if rates go up to 6%.
Yeah.
6% is a fantastic rate.
It is really a great rate.
I mean, that's what
Inflation's going up 3%.
Yeah.
So if you're getting a 4.5%, you're almost only paying 1.5.
Yeah. I think I paid 6% in 2001 when I bought my first house.
Yeah, it's probably a great deal.
And it was a great deal. But yeah, I think rates are going to creep up, but I don't think they're going to go crazy. I think by the middle of the year we may be over 5%, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah. I saw that comment. I think when it comes to mortgage amounts, I mean, basically you're going to get less house if the interest rates goes up, and there's been no big indication on it yet, but you just never know where the market's going to go when it comes to those things. Did we have any more questions?
Matt said Geoff did a great job answering that, and then somebody said that we're awful good looking. So
Yeah. You know, I thought I needed a haircut till I walked in and saw Eli's.
I got product in there today.
Here's a funny thing. Eli's setting up the camera. We got
like glare.
all set here a little bit. Eli's setting up the camera, and he's like, "Man, I think the sweater makes me look fat." And I go, "It's actually not the sweater; it's the fat."
That would be my gut. That would be my gut.
So I know we've got what, a few more minutes or
Yeah,
something.
we got plenty of time.
Go over the tips again and just let me sink that in, and people watching this, like, well, let me ask it this way. If I go and I'm meeting with you and you're the guy selling your house, what are the tips that I need to prepare you for, some things that I need to share with you? And let's just use generic. I mean, yeah, you know, I know Geoff was saying specific, paint this wall. What are some things that I need to share with them to get them ready?
So here's something that I do when I walk into listing presentations, and especially when the house is really, really cluttered. Depending on how cluttered the house is, I do this thing where I walk in, if it's super cluttered.
Are you able to move out?
No, what I'll do is it's like, this is a technique I learned from HGTV, and I always pull that HGTV thing. And I walk in, and I point at the furniture, I go 1, 2, out, 1, 2, out. And that's how you're going to figure how much stuff you need to get out of your house right now. So that way I don't have to be like, take grandma's, you know,
Yeah.
antique case that is really important
Right.
to me, you know, just
Exactly.
be like 1, 2, out, 1, 2, out. So declutter.
That's good. Declutter.
The one thing is when you live in a house, you don't realize how good or bad something may be. There may be a crack in the wall that has been there for 15 years. You've completely overlooked it. So detail stuff like painting, painting, obviously decluttering. I always say remove personal pictures and curb appeal. Curb appeal is crucial.
Okay.
So you want to show as much floor as possible, I mean, much space as possible, and you got to let people imagine their stuff in the space. So I always try to, as little furniture as you can live with, take it all out.
Okay.
Destiny. Actually, I read yesterday that they actually canceled Sam Hunt's country concert in Nashville this week because they realized that he doesn't play country. So I don't know any Sam Hunt songs, to be honest with you.
Body Like a Back Road is pretty good though.
Are you guys talking about country music?
Yeah, sorry. So, hey,
I
Geoff,
don't know any country music.
question to you then. What if I'm thinking of selling a house? Why do I want to go with you?
Well, first of all, I may already have a buyer for your house. We have 22 buyers on our board right now we're working with.
Okay.
And secondly, I'm just a relentless worker.
You
I
are.
work 7 days a week. I work from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, and you know this is my passion, and it's what I do. There's nothing else I'd rather do. I wake up thinking about real estate. I go to sleep thinking about real estate. When I'm asleep, I'm dreaming about real estate. But you know, I'm going to be able to help you. I'm going to negotiate the best I can for you, whether you're a buyer, whether you're a seller, and I've got a great teammate. We've got a great team. We have an assistant. So you're really getting 3 people most of the time with us for the price of 1.
And your wife, throw that in. What does she do?
My wife's an interior designer and a decorator, so she's actually going to Richmond to meet one of our buyers tomorrow, and that's part of her services. She's going to help them, you know, stage the property and pick out paint colors and paint the house, and you know that's something you get with us. So it's a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. Cool, man. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'd love for you to share this video. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to private message any of us. I'll tag all of us in there.
Real quick,
Sure.
before we finish, just put a new house on the market in the Southland neighborhood yesterday. It's a great little Cape Cod. It could be a great Airbnb. It could be a great remodel. It needs a little bit of work, but it's you know, priced around the 150 range, which is great in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And then here in about a week and a half, I've got another one coming up in Southland that's being completely remodeled. It's going to be around the 319 mark, and it's Cape Cod on a full basement with a detached 2-car garage as well. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm in Southland.
yeah,
Great.
You guys like my little
we love Southland.
Southland.
See you next Wednesday.
Thanks, guys.